What's going on, Chicago? So, we got a very, very, very special episode lined up for y'all today, man. We are joined by Cam Smith. I mean, he needs no introduction, but just in case you live under a rock or out of space or some shit and you came through tonight, man, this is Cam Smith from CHSN Bulls, by the horns, yeah, just a really special guest we have. We'll be having our guy Mike Walton. Y'all know he always show up whenever he want to. So he said he's on the way, so he'll be hopping on. We might be joined by Izzy tonight. She's been talking to Casey, who is Cam's co-host. So she might be giving us some nuggets from him while she's in Vegas. But our boy Kurtz cooked up a really cool outline for us. We really want to dive into Cam Smith. We want to interview the interviewer. So Kurtz did his homework, so I'll be letting him steer the ship from here.
Yeah, I mean, for starters, Cam, how are you feeling, man? How you doing today?
Look, fellas, I'm doing great. It is great to be on the pod. I appreciate you guys opening up the doors to have me to join. I know we have been sending messages and trying to get this thing going, and I want to make sure that I responded back so we can get this thing going because, of course, it's the off season, it's summertime, a little more time on my hands, but making sure that I'm showing love to a lot of people that support, but then also our true Bulls fans, man, and part of Bulls Nation. So, I mean, again, for all you guys, congrats on the Fanatics joint. That's great, phenomenal, and definitely necessary. So I'm looking forward to that, especially with Melissa, who's someone that I know that does great work and is one
Man,
of the
she's a G, man.
Yeah, there we go.
People out there in the world for sure.
Yeah, I'll definitely be clipping this for her. Yeah, that's what I tell her all the time. I know she get tired of me saying it, but I'm just honored to be on that team with her and Ramina and Brenda, and we got our guy Dalen. So shout out to Chicago Sully and just the whole Fanatic squad. I was just honored they reached out to me to join them. So yeah, man. But Melissa puts in crazy work.
Definitely.
Yeah,
for sure. Good people, man. Shout out to Ramina too. So definitely.
There we go.
Last year the Bulls game at the United Center too. So good people, man.
Oh, that's what's up, man.
Yeah. So Cam, I mean, you ready to get into it? I know this is kind of your usual time slot. We got a summer league game coming up. This is basically the pregame show. You're used to the moment. You ready to dive into this interview?
Let's get it, man. Come on now. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Rip the Band-Aid off. Let's get to it.
All right. Well, let's start off for starters, right? You're a Chicagoan. You're one of us, and now you're covering our team. So, can you give us a little bit of background into your hooping days, maybe in the city growing up, and then maybe over to your time over at SIU when you were on the team, and just a little bit of background on how Chicago has shaped your love for hoops and sports in general? And be as long-winded as you want.
Because we got time, right? We got time right now for sure. No, I love that question because it allows me to really reflect and appreciate where I'm from and where I was born and raised, right? So not even just from Chicago, but on the west side of Chicago. So that all ultimately shaped, who I am in terms of my work ethic, how I think, how mentally tough I am, physically tough too. It's just one of those things that you develop a sixth sense, not only about Chicago, but basketball, but also yourself when you grow up in those areas. So for me, growing up in L-Town and Jackson and Laramie, where I grew up, it was one of those kind of rites of passage to play basketball. When you think about just that's what everybody did, whether it was basketball or maybe football a little bit, but you were always hooping outside, dribbling the ball up and down the street, dribbling the ball up to school, back, all of those things, going to the parks and playing. So you knew that at some point that you're going to be in a position to really show people what you could do, right? And it was up to you to be able to showcase that. And that's the beauty of Chicago. And really when it comes to Chicago basketball culture and just the game is that they're going to throw you right into the fire, right? And
Absolutely.
So it's kind of like a sink or swim mentality. And I love it because it really makes you better. Like if you're not ready at that moment, then it's up to you. Like, all right, are you going to go back and work on your game, or are you just going to let that experience just sit with you for the rest of your life? So I've seen both sides of that, not for me personally, but from other people where, somebody gets the best of you, perform as well, then you got to go back in and put the work in and get better. So when that next opportunity comes, you can show up and show out. But for me, growing up in the city and just how it shaped me, it was perfect, man. So a lot of life lessons that I've been able to have through basketball too, have helped me in terms of life, right? I always say that sports are a microcosm of life, right? And I've learned so much about myself playing basketball and playing sports and competing and working hard and understanding what a goal is and how to be team-oriented, lose myself to a team, like all the cliche things, but it's true, how it's helped me in life, right? And so that's, for me, special when it comes to just being from the city and being from out west. So like that journey took me from, and a lot of people don't understand this, and probably if I'm speaking to a certain era right now, but there was a elementary school that I went to called Resurrection. It's no longer there. Right now it's Christ the King High School right there on the street. And so, but it used to be Resurrection Elementary School. And so it was the same elementary school as Isaiah Thomas, like so many great basketball players. Wood Harris, the actor, right? Went to Resurrection Elementary School. Also, his brother as well. So it's a lot of great history of people that came through those doors to either hoop or just went out to the world and impacted life in so many different lanes. So that's where, for me, my journey started, right? I mean, there with my older brother who really taught me the game. My pops played ball, uncles played ball in college, a cousin that played in the NBA and was a longtime NBA assistant, Tony Brown. And so like that lineage for me and that DNA and that bloodline, I had no choice but to, right? It was just in my blood, right? But it's funny now because my son in this new generation, and new era of all of the resources and air-conditioned gyms and all that stuff, I try to get him to hoop as much as I did. He doesn't want to do it as much because he's more of a soccer player, right? And so since we're in the World Cup, like he's really been all over that. And so I just try and support him in his dreams, but I still want him to hoop like I did back in the day. But it's just one of those things where you think about just your journey, right? And what's ultimately shaped you to be who you are. And I think about all of those experiences playing ball out west and just growing up out west and growing up in the city. I mean, I spent time on the south side as well. My grandparents living over there, so that's a different brand of basketball. Still great, gritty to a certain extent. And I'm not going to give the south side too much love because I'm from out west. But, the west side's got the grittiest basketball. I always say it, man, like you can tell what type of player that where they're from in Chicago when it comes to, like, if you ask them a simple question, did you grow up playing 32 or did you grow up playing 21? Now, a lot of people from out south say they grew up playing 21, which is cool. Like it's skillful. Like you have to make sure again that you're slicing things up and being surgical with some of your decisions and getting your buckets, but also you get certain breaks when it comes to 21, right? Whether shooting from the free throw line or 3-point line, depending on, what park you at or who you playing with that day after you score your bucket, and trying to get to 21. But out west, we play 32.
32 is
the only break that you get is if somebody calls traveling or double dribble or calls a foul, right? That's the only thing that you would get. So like you're trying to get up to 32, and that's the goal. And of course, we all know this, whether it's 21 or 32, the closer you get to that number, that target score, the more people start defending you. So if it's 8 people playing and you're part of that 8 of 32 or 21, you're going to have 7 other people guarding you to try and stop you from winning. So that really lets you know of just, okay, you've gotten to a certain point, and that's why I say sports are a microcosm of life. You get to a certain point where you're almost getting ready to reach a goal, but then that's when that's when that experience gets a little bit tougher.
Yes.
Now you got to dig in even more to really reach that goal, right? And then when you reach that goal, it's like a badge of honor. Like, man, I did this.
Yes.
I'm proud of myself, but also I can't rest on it. Run it back. And it's not even you maybe saying run it back, but the people that lost are saying, okay, run it back. Let's see if you can do it again, or they're trying to win. And that's just the world that we live in, man. And so that's why I say when it comes to playing basketball, but also in the city of Chicago, it ultimately shaped me. And so from there,
that's amazing.
Yeah, man, for sure. It's just one of those journeys that is unique to me. And I wouldn't trade it for anything else.
That's amazing, man. No, that's so real, man. Just talking about like how it shapes you and molds you. Like just them games, man. That's a perfect way to put it, a microcosm for life, man. Because it's a battle out there.
Yeah,
it really is a battle, and like as soon as you about to get them, when you getting close, man, that's when everybody turn up on you. So
right. Get a little more physical, a little more physical,
man. And you can't fall. You better not call foul. That's how we was raised.
Yeah,
you call a foul, man. You can't even show your face at the court no more.
Man. Right. For sure, man. So that's why it's just one of those things, and I'm biased, of course, being from Chicago, and when I'm outside of the city, it doesn't matter if it's west side, south side, north side, whatever it is, man. We all going to unite and band together. But when it's in the city, you're going to choose your side. But I always say this, that Chicago basketball is for us a religion. right?
Yes.
And compared to any other city, whether it's New York or LA or Miami or Houston, whatever it is, like we always feel that Chicago is the best because it is, and it's true. And it's the history of that has been tried and true and proven throughout the years, every single level when you think of the game of basketball, even across the waters overseas currently. Like look at what Kendrick Nunn is doing and Taylor Horton-Tucker, former Bull, like Chicago dudes that are killing out there. And they're just a part of a long line of guys from the city that have gone over in Europe and have done some phenomenal things.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I'm not going to take any shade. You know, I know you're throwing shade at 21. That was my game growing up. So let's,
no shade. Look, no shade at all, man. No, look, 21 is still tough.
Oh, man.
But it's like when you play 32,
you get them breaks.
It's a different level. It's a different level, Kurtz. It's a different level, man. So it's a great work. It's a look as a soon to be 41-year-old in a couple of weeks. It's great cardio for those out there that's looking, trying to get some cardio, just trying to hoop. Because at this stage, I mean, if you 40 or even if you 30 or 35 plus, come on, man, just go ahead and give up that hoop dream. Sorry to be a hater right now, but just use basketball as cardio, dog. You're not about to sign a shoe deal. Just chill out. Play 32, get some good cardio in. Don't get hurt, and you'll be like, you know what, Cam was right, man. That was some good cardio. Let's continue playing 32 when we get back to the gym.
Absolutely. I mean, best cardio there is, I always say. It's one of those things too. You take some time off, you get thrown into the mix, and you're exhausted after you haven't played for a while. But
yeah, for sure.
Absolutely one of my favorite things. So Cam, the next thing I want to ask you is, when did you decide to make the transition from, obviously you were playing, and how did you decide to go to the broadcasting route? Because obviously there's many different things you can do within the sport, whether it's coaching, playing, front office management. What made you decide to go down the path of media and broadcasting?
You know what, Kurtz? I always had it in the back of my head, even when I was a kid, right? So I'm dating myself. I already said I'm going to be 41 in a couple of weeks. But when I was growing up, early 90s, we remember this NBA Inside Stuff. Saturday mornings was the deal. Like Ahmad Rashad, for me, was that dude. So he showed me an avenue of, if my NBA dream didn't work out, then I could still be connected to the game and do it through the lens and also the scope of interviewing players. And so that opened me up to a new world where I knew about Michael Jordan. I knew about David Robinson. I knew about Grant Hill. I knew about every single thing about these guys in terms of on the court. But I didn't know too much off the court, with the exception of Michael Jordan, because he was covered on everything because it was Mike. But when I was watching NBA Inside Stuff, they had an episode with Grant Hill, and it's Ahmad Rashad and it's Grant Hill, and Grant Hill's playing the piano. And so as a kid, I'm like, man, I didn't know Grant Hill played the piano. But as they're going through the conversation, Ahmad Rashad and Grant Hill is super chill, it's relaxed, they're laughing. And I'm like, man, that looks like a good time. It looks cool as hell. It's the same thing with David Robinson. Like, I didn't know David Robinson played the saxophone, right? Or even when he had his interview with Shaq, and they were just like, I think they were like at a local YMCA. I'm not sure if it was in Orlando or not, but just joking around, playing one-on-one. And Shaq took it a little serious because Ahmad Rashad was talking a little trash to him, and Shaq went up for a dunk and broke the backboard and fell on his back. I'm glad he didn't get hurt, but is those atmospheres and those environments where you look at Ahmad Rashad and what he was able to create. And he's a former professional athlete, like played in the NFL for a number of seasons and was able to make that transition. So we know that with Ryan Clark and Channing Crowder and what they have in Fred Taylor with the pivot, like that was an early on pivot when it comes to someone finding their next lane, their next life in this world professionally. So that opened me up to the possibilities of what could be if I didn't make it to it. And so when I got to high school, I went to Gordon Tech High School, the old Gordon Tech High School. It's all college prep now. And Kurtz and I were having a conversation. Everybody that's joining us now. Yeah, man. Captain League Foles over here because he's a Loyola guy. And we used to have a lot of battles with those dudes, man, especially Colin Falls, who was the same graduating class as me in 2003.
Really? Okay,
yeah,
nice. Cool.
Yep. And Colin put in some work, man. He was tough. I can't even lie about that. He was a real deal. But I was a sophomore at Gordon Tech, and I'm filling out my classes, and I just needed a couple of more classes to kind of complete my schedule for that year. And I had some electives. So I'm like, all right, what can I choose for an elective? And I saw television production. Oh. And I was like, all right, well, it'll be something that'll be easy for the most part. And that's just being real about it. I thought it was going to be easy A or easy grade, help my GPA, because ultimately I'm trying to get a scholarship and go D1, right? Yeah. And make that route and make that thing a reality. So took the class, got into the class, and she still teaches to this day, and she's over at Shepherd High School. I still believe that she's there. Her name is Miss Jasmine or Jody Pellini. And so at the time, her name was Miss Jasmine because she wasn't married at the time. Now she's married. She's been married for a long time, and her name is Miss Pellini. But Mrs. Pellini, excuse me. But she, the first week, said that, pulled me to the side after one of the classes and just like, you know what, if you take this thing seriously, you could actually do something with this. And I'm like, all right, okay, whatever. And so I started to listen more to it as she continued to send that message to me. And I started to find out, like, man, this is actually some really cool stuff. And this is early 2000s, right? Especially when you think of media at that time or interviews, right? It wasn't the YouTubes that was out then. It wasn't like the Ball is Life and all this social media content that you have when it comes to basketball coverage. It was one of those moments where I realized that what I watched growing up with Ahmad Rashad, I could possibly do for myself. Being in front of a camera, interviewing some of my teammates, interviewing different athletes that were friends at the high school, doing different features on the basketball team or the school or certain teachers. So it was a eye-opening experience for me where Miss Pellini told me that, look, you have an opportunity to try and do something if your basketball dream doesn't work out. And I'm glad she did that. And she took a chance on me and really poured into me to really get out that dream. And that was something for me where I'm like, all right, I know what I want to do if my NBA dream doesn't work out. Now, senior high school, I decided to go to Southern Illinois and play ball there. And I'm starting to realize, like, all right, this NBA dream really probably ain't going to work out. So let me go ahead and shift my focus a little bit and, one, get a scholarship so my parents don't have to pay college tuition. And I'm very fortunate to be able to do that and use my basketball skills to take that burden away from them. But then also, two, let me major in radio and television so I can start to look at the bigger picture. So when I do graduate, because I wasn't going to the league, wasn't going overseas because I knew I was going to be homesick, and knew a lot of friends that played overseas and just told me about that life and how it was and how it was a struggle for them. And it took them some time, really some years, to really get over being homesick and getting adjusted to different customs and different countries, because most of the time these guys are not in the same country for more than 2, maybe 3 years. They're always switching countries because they're trying to get to a higher league or even get to their bag, which I respect. So I'm like, all right, this is something where bigger picture, when I graduate, I can go into television broadcasting. And so radio and TV was my major. That's what I focused in and was able to get my degree in that. And so that journey is interesting in itself, because at that time, with being a Division I college basketball player, you don't have time to do nothing. You have time to practice. You have time to travel and play games. You have time to go to class. Anything outside of that, you basically don't have time for. So it was really tough for me to try and get clips when it comes to sports reporting or sideline reporting or anything like that for real. For when I graduated, I can shop around or mail, like at that time, again, I'm talking the early 2000s, sending DVDs out to these different news stations so they can see who I am. And so I had to make the decision my junior year to take a year off to really focus in on that. And so, just to be real about it, I wasn't playing as much on the team. Still was a part of some great teams as well at Southern Illinois, where we made the NCAA tournament all 4 years and won the conference all 4 years and just played with some Hall of Fame players throughout my time. But again, bigger picture, man. Like I want to get myself prepared for life after basketball. So that junior year, took some time off and really took it even more seriously when it came to the news station that we had on campus called River Region News, which was a student-run news station. And that's where I was able to get some interviews and get some packages done and some features on the team, which made it easier because I already had the connection with my teammates and also the coaching staff. So that allowed me to really put together some type of reel. So when I graduated, I had something to shop around. So that journey ultimately led me back home to Chicago and had to grind to get myself to where I am now. So a lot of people don't know this, but I started out as a grip in the industry, man. So if people don't know what a grip is basically like a bodyguard for the sideline cameraman. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, you're in charge of carrying camera cases. You're in charge of making sure the camera core is in a nice, presentable figure 8 for the camera guy, making sure that the camera guy has enough slack for in case he runs out into the field or runs out into the basketball court. So if people can think of, if you're watching ESPN or inside the NBA or NBA on TNT, when it's a timeout and you see the camera guys come over to the court, or they have the camera on a certain player that's walking back to the bench, that person behind them holding the cables, that was me. That was me.
Damn, that's crazy.
So
from the ground up, man.
Yeah, from the ground up, definitely out the mud, and that's why I always
Chicago way.
Yeah, man, it's one of those things where it's different ways to get to your goal. And that was just the way for me. And I understood the work that was necessary to get to where I wanted to be. But at the same time, from Chicago, played basketball, understanding what it meant to sacrifice, understanding what it meant to work hard, and knowing that when I got my moment, that I was going to step in and do my thing. And when they offered me opportunities to be on air, I'm like, bet, cool. Like, it's it now. Ain't no turning back, because I'm definitely not going back to carrying camera cases. No disrespect. No shade to people that's grips. But I'm like, look, I got another goal for myself. And that's not doing this for my career, man. I'm trying to be on camera and use the gifts that the Most High gave me. So
absolutely, man.
It's been a journey for sure, man. And I'm getting closer to 20 years in the industry.
That's amazing. That's so inspiring, man. Like, you kind of just remind me of Bryson Graham in that way, and I remember watching after you guys. I think when you sat down with him yourself, you said like how you could relate to him just getting it out the mud, and now I really do see why. Because like not being too proud for any job, and just truly knowing that it's all for a higher purpose. So you want to do anything out the mud, man. So I got a lot of respect for that.
No doubt, man. But you have a better appreciation too. Not only what your role is, but also better appreciation of everyone that works around you, right? And how they make that thing work. So even now, and I tell people this over at CHSN, that I'm a representation of everyone that's not on camera, whether you're an editor, whether you're a cameraman, whether you're a floor director, whether you work in marketing, whether you're a producer or an AP. I want to make sure that my stuff is thorough, crisp, presentable. So when I'm on camera, I'm doing my thing because I represent you. And so that's the whole team mentality. Again, going back to sports being a microcosm of life, I'm a representative of you guys. So if I'm not doing or having a good show or broadcast, in my mind, that's a reflection on you guys. And I'm not trying to let you guys down. So I hold that with a sense of pride when it comes to every time that I'm on camera, I'm representing not only myself and my family, but everyone that are colleagues of mine over at the network. And so that's why having this position that I have now, which I'm 100% blessed to have, is something that I take to heart, and it's special for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I love what you said too about, like the little things that really kind of inspired you to take this path. Like, seeing Grant Hill playing the piano, like triggering something in your brain. Because I feel like so often in life, it's little moments like that really, lead to the big changes and the big decisions.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool that you have the self-awareness, whether it was that moment or even your teacher, to be like, okay, those were two, like light bulb moments in my life. Then you're able to look back and say that was the time. And I think that's so interesting and vital to, the life journey that we all have to go on.
100%, man. Because it's one of those things where you just got to take a step back sometimes and think about, one, what your goals are, what you want to be in life, what you want to do. Right. And I'm always a big proponent of this, man. Go after your passion, dog. Go after whatever that passion is, man, especially if it's positive, go after that passion for sure. Because you put the work in, you just never know what things will lead you. And so I just remember years ago wanting to have certain roles in certain spots and working my way towards that. And I always say this, I try to be as genuine as possible and be as real as possible, because I just believe in just a higher power and things working out, right? And not doing anything in terms of another way or trying to be conniving just to get to a certain level. Like, look, if it's for you, it's for you, right? Just stay true to what you're doing, stay genuine, be a good person, and it will reflect in your work, man. And so people can relate to realness and being genuine. And so you brought up Bryson Graham. It's the authenticity. I think a lot of people really felt his messages and just how he got it out the mud and just how he comes off, because that's who he is in the conversations that I've had with him. It's just like he's as real as he is on camera as he is off camera. And so those are things that you can't fake, right? You know, nowadays you can tell when somebody's like, okay, you're putting up an act right now. Like that's not really who you are, right? You know what I'm saying? So,
especially now, man.
But when it's authentic, man, it just you gain a better appreciation for that person and gain more respect for that person for sure.
Right. Absolutely. I think that's so cool. I just love how you say that, man. It's like it's just really refreshing energy having you on here. I told Chris I wasn't going to talk too much today, man. I really want him to like dive into his bag and like listen to you talk. But man, you just spit, man, and just man, it's inspiring and just heavy on that last point, just about doing things and just it's easy to be a good person. Yeah. You know, like it's so easy and heavy on like not doing conniving things to get there because like, man, when it's real, it's real. You know, even if it takes longer, but when it's real, it's just good to hear from somebody in your position that when it's meant to be, it'll be, and you don't have to try to do shicey things or grimy things, man. I feel like, and especially just keeping it 100 when no matter what you're doing, you know, because like you said, like these days, I feel like everything just feels kind of performative a lot of the times. People are doing things like strictly for social media, and it's and I can't knock them. I feel like the younger generation, they kind of grew up with phones, they grew up with TikTok, they grew up with, you know, Instagram Reels. So it feels like a lot of things are just so performative now. So it's just so refreshing to like come across people who are not moving like that. They're just being authentic and genuine. And you definitely get that energy, man. So it's just an honor to be here with you today.
Appreciate that, man.
And inspiring.
Yeah, just be real, man. Everything don't got to be for content, or you don't have to take out your phone and record everything, or just like, you know, flip it and be like, selfie. Oh, I'm here over. Just you don't have to do all that. Just
speaking of selfie, we got this from. So I told. Oh, I'm trying to. How do I do it? There you go. I told Melissa that we were on the call with you, and yeah, she sent this in. She said, "Tell you to say." She said, "What up, man?"
Definitely, man. Look, Melissa's good people for sure, man. It's a homegirl, Erica, in the photo as well. So, definitely true Bulls fans, and always show a lot of love. But to that point of people that are genuine and that are real,
yes,
like, these are two great examples there. You know, two great examples right there of just them being genuine and real, but also knowing hoop, like they know ball, right? You know what I'm saying? So it makes it easier when it comes to having conversations like that, but just take away the basketball component, just being good people, right? And that's who they are. So this is actually after, I believe it might have been a Clippers game though, and connected with them and brought them in the studio and just, you know, talked back and forth and just spending some time. So definitely good people, man. So shout out to Melissa and Erica.
Absolutely, man. Oh, we got Mike. I don't know. Mike,
Mike's coming in.
Hi, Mike.
Yes, sir. How's it going, Cam? Thanks for hopping on, man. Really appreciate it.
Hey, Mike, you on CP time, bro. What's going on, dog? What's up, man? Come on, Mike. I'm looking at my watch. I'm like, wait, hold on. Is my watch correct? It's about to be 6 o'clock, dog. What's up?
I told you nothing was going to keep me from hopping on tonight. But yeah, we had some previous obligations. But since I'm going to be like the Kool-Aid man and pop through the door here, I might as well start off with I was very excited at the whole start of CHSN, seeing Cam hop on, do the pregame, be a big part of it, because just like I'm not going to do long derailing story time, but just way back when I did some individual high school scouting, I was running around watching Jahlil Okafor, those type of guys, helped out a guy named Daniel Poneman, who's now an NBA agent, and met a lot of great ball players over that time. And Cam is someone, without knowing, I'm just like, I see this guy, I feel like, at every big high school game. I see him at every event. I see him at Nike events at Whitney Young. I feel like, you know, I've just seen him at McDonald's All-American games. So a lot of reporters, they just pop up on your radar once they're doing something big. But Cam is somebody I can say firsthand. I see him doing the work. I saw him grinding. And I know it wasn't an overnight success story. So I'm just happy for your success, man.
Mike, I appreciate that, man. That means a lot. And just kind of to the points that we were touching on, just putting in the work and just being from Chicago, but also just the life experiences, man. That's you gain more respect when people see you doing those things, man. It's the same thing with you, Mike, and just being there, right? Some people show up for bigger events and then you don't see them for a long time. It's just like, okay, they only pop up for certain things. I mean, that's no shade. I mean, they could have other obligations. I don't know, but I just know for me and my journey and where I was trying to go, I had to put the work in. But also, too, I'm a fan at the end of the day as well. So, like, covering those high school eras, especially when it came to Jahlil Okafor and Jabari Parker and Jalen Brunson and all that, I was like, man, all right. I mean, you know, secretly inside, I'm like, man, this is something I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. But also, too, being fortunate enough to be in those environments in those atmospheres to get those interviews or to call those games. So definitely special. Yeah. You bringing me into a time machine right there, Mike, because man, that was an era of just complete grinding to get to where I am now, man. But again, you appreciate that journey and you look back after keeping your head down and you back up and like you turn around like, man, yo, it was worth it. It was all worth it, you know? So that's what's for this position that I have with CHSN is special.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about performative and being genuine. I think, Cam, you're definitely one of those people. And when I was doing research, putting together this interview, like it was so hard to like find this one thing. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about Shy Side, which I believe is an organization you're involved with that helps kids get involved with sports media. And I couldn't find it. Like I was struggling to find it anywhere. I saw like little snippets of it, but I think that just goes to show that you're not doing it for public image, but more so the good of your community. So it really stood out to me. I was just wondering if you could maybe tell the people what it is, shed some light on what you guys do.
Yeah, 100%. And so Shy Side is a movement that I started with a good friend of mine, Brooke Weisbrod, who does a lot of great stuff with ESPN when it comes to color commentary or even sideline reporting for the WNBA and also women's college basketball. And going back to, I told you guys of how I grew up, and the example that I had was Ahmad Rashad. Like I didn't have too many other examples of someone that looked like me, that was on air, that was talking sports and made it look cool. So Jim Rose was probably the only other example that I can remember. Stuart Scott as well, RIP to Stuart Scott and rest in peace to the legend. But those are like the three examples that I had. But I also wanted to make sure when we started this and Brooke and I had these conversations of kids that either hooped, love sports or love basketball, to show them a different way that they can still be connected to the game without being that athlete on the court. And so many people get it confused of, man, I got to make it to the NBA or I got to make it to the W. If I don't make it there, then my dream is shot. I can't be around sports or basketball anymore. There's so many different avenues that you can tap into that still keeps you connected to the game. And so journalism is one of those avenues for me, and also that we're trying to provide for a lot of kids that are either in Chicago or the Chicago area to show them another way, another pathway to stay connected to the game. And when you have these kids that in the ages range from 7 to 17, you have these kids that initially start the program that may be shy, a little introverted, standoffish to a certain extent just because it's something new. And what we're presenting to them is basically public speaking at the end of the day. And I don't think that they realize, their parents realize it, but the kids, the students, the participants don't realize that what they're going through is a form of public speaking, that not only if they decide to go into journalism, be a broadcaster, sideline reporter, anything there, journalism in general, that'll help them there and they have a foot up or a leg up on people. But at the end of the day, when they are back at school or they get to high school or college, they're already a step ahead when it comes to public speaking. They're comfortable speaking in front of others or people that they don't know, strangers. So that's, for us, one of the special things that we created. But also, too, just trying to show them that, look, you can still be connected to the game. And we partnered with Nike Chicago and did a lot of great activations with them throughout the years with our program. And it's just been special for Chicago. And it's really a passion project at the end of the day. Like we talked about, everything is not for cloud or content.
Yes.
We try and make sure that we are right there tapped into the soil with these kids, with Chicago, and providing opportunities for them. I just had two of my students, Juanche and also Taryn, their brother and sister, on the Bulls pre and post show this past.
Oh man, amazing!
They have taken what they learned and what they developed with Shy Side and started their own thing. Right when it comes to WNBA players or NBA players or being at these different sporting events or activations and doing their own interviews. So when I see that and I had them on the show, man, I just had to sit back and kind of keep my tears in a little bit to be real about it. Like you're seeing these kids really have that spark and realize like, man, this is something that I really love. And they both play basketball, they both hoop, but also is giving them another avenue at this age that they may have not realized if they weren't introduced to Shy Side. And so that's a special thing that we've created and that we're doing with the program. So it's for us, man, it's paying it forward, but also paying it back and making sure that we're putting some good back into just the communities that we're from.
Man, that's amazing, Cam. So we just did a mental health awareness episode. I think that was 2 days ago. It was on Sunday, but at the end it was with Zachary Drake. I don't know if you ran into him at all at some of the games, but he covers a team for Clutch Points. But he talked about that, man, and we just talked about being selfless, right? So he was saying like how he covers the Chicago Sky, he covers the Bulls, but he says like maybe he takes being a reporter a little too serious sometimes. He said because like I don't have a favorite team, like my passion is covering sports itself. But he said, who my favorite team is, and he started getting hype. And like if Zach, he's a pretty reserved dude. Like he's one of those guys I gotta tell me like, man, calm your ass down. He's one of those, like he's one of those people that keep me calm. So he started getting hyped up, and I was like, damn. I'm like, okay, Zach, like, who's your favorite team? And he stood up. He goes, do you want to know Guilty? And he goes, I'm wearing the shirt right now. And it was Augustin, his lacrosse team, but it's a team that he helps coach. And he said, like, that's his favorite team because it's not about him, it's about those kids.
Right.
And I just said, like, man, that's just so cool to hear. And it was so inspiring again to see him say, because he said, like, even though I cover the Sky or I cover the Bulls, it's like, those kids come first, and if they got a game, like the Sky will have to wait. And I'm like, man, that's just you love to hear stuff like that. And I told him how when I started doing construction, that was one of the things that kind of grew me up, is because I'd be on lunch. I'm 25. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to show up, like we talked about before the show. I'm in there with OGs, on lunch, and them construction dudes are a little different, man. So like I'm trying to show them funny reels on like Facebook reels or Instagram reels, something like that to make them laugh. And they're like, man, watch out. And what they show me on their phones is their grandchildren. Mm. And that was one of the moments that like really matured me, because I was like, damn, dude, like it just shows you what your priorities are. And like these dudes working so hard, and all these dudes are talking about, like I'll be talking about what me and my boys are doing on the weekend, or if you going out to go drink or do this. Yeah. But these old timers, they be talking about, how everything they do is for their granddaughter's college fund, or what their granddaughter took her first steps or stuff like that. And again, it just kind of showed me, like, I don't want to say what being a man is, but for real, like being what a real man is, and just being a community leader is doing stuff for the people. And you could tell when somebody really cares about that. Like Kurt said, he couldn't even find Shy Side because you don't do it for applause. You don't do it for attention. You don't do it for clout. You really do it for those kids. And, and like you said, like having to hold back the tears, because how much that means. Like to be honest, speaking in the Black community, like we know how it is, like lacking those father figures sometimes, so I know like that's why I've worked so hard to just try to become a good person, just be what I needed when I was younger. So it's just super cool and inspiring, man. Again, I feel like a broken record, but like you're inspiring, man. And hearing that you were holding back the tears that had to be so cool. Watching, like bringing them to where you do your thing, and watching them do their thing, knowing that you helped them, man. So just God bless you, and God bless them kids too, man.
No, for sure. Definitely, man. They come from great parents as well, who have made things. And a lot of our kids that join the program, the parents get it and they understand it. Mm-hmm. They are always thankful when it comes to us providing this experience for these kids, right? Because they have the access to these games. They have the access to these players. They're getting some of that VIP treatment of going backstage and doing these interviews one-on-one, walking into these arenas. And they have that as a kid, right? I mean, when you're being ushered into the post-game press conference, or you're being ushered to the tunnel to speak to this professional player one-on-one, you feel important, right? And that's the feeling that they should feel, right? You want to have them with that emotion. You want to have them with that experience so they can continue to build on that. And so again, with what we've been able to create and what we're continuing to build with Shy Side is just something that is forever lasting with Chicago, and hopefully we can expand. But right now we're definitely keeping it Chicago because we are that passionate about where we're from, and trying to just, again, not only plant the flag, but continue to raise the flag higher for what we're doing.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of, Chicago and keeping it at home, I read that you a couple months ago hosted the groundbreaking for the 1901 project over by the United Center. Yeah. And I just wanted to know, like, being from the West Side, like, how does it make you feel that, like, that area is being renovated in such a way that's going to be such a positive for that community, and it's kind of being done in association with a team that you have always loved your entire life?
Yeah, it's wild thinking of late 80s, early 90s of what that area looked like and what it was, because a lot of people weren't trying to travel over to that area. If it wasn't a Bulls or Blackhawks game, nobody was trying to come over to that part of the city, right? Because it was just a different time, right? And some people still don't want to travel over to that part of the city. But what's being created and what's being built over there is really something that's going to be long lasting. When you have the outdoor music space, the green space, they're going to have hotel and retail spaces over there. Of course, everything that's going to be around the United Center, and what it will showcase is an opportunity for people to come over to the West Side even more, right? I mean, we know that Chicago is so segregated, and what it delivers and what it brings for certain crowds of people, but that is a space that will kind of bring more traffic and more money, right? More revenue to that part of the city. And so it's a nice nod to not only the Reinsdorf, but also the Wirtz family of being able to create that, but also the city of Chicago and Brandon Johnson for greenlighting that project, because Chicago wins at the end of the day. Like, I don't care where you're from in the city or outside of the city, Chicago area, we'll just label it as that. Everybody wins with, right? Because you can go out there and enjoy it. It doesn't have to be a Bulls game that you go to. It doesn't have to be a Blackhawks game that you can go to. It could be summertime Chicago, summertime Chi. And we know that summertime Chi is undefeated, but you have a space where you can go and just enjoy yourself with your guys or ladies, girls, or whatever it is, right? With your family, right? Date night. Like, it's just something that gives you an opportunity to explore the city even more. So for me, hosting that groundbreaking ceremony for the 1901 project, I said it when I stood up there in my opening remarks. Like, for me, being from the West Side, it's a proud moment for me, because I try to represent my side of the city to the highest level. Because again, like I said, with CHSN, and every time that I'm on camera, I'm a representation of everyone that works there. Every time that I'm on camera, I do something, and especially with this interview, I'm representing the West Side of Chicago. And not to say that I'm the only representation of the West Side of Chicago, but I take it with a badge of honor for people to realize that, look, there's a lot of greatness that comes from the city of Chicago, especially the South Side, especially the West Side, North Side, East Side. Every part of Chicago, you have so many different communities that have so much greatness in it. So being part of that project and that groundbreaking ceremony, man, I can't even say special, because it feels like it doesn't do it justice for the platform that I was able to be blessed to have and be able to present on. But it's just something that for me, for the rest of my life, it'll always hold true to my heart, man. Is that moment and what the evolution of that part of the city will be in that space, man, it's going to be heavy. And once it's all done, it's going to take a little time. But once it's all done, because we got about almost 10 years before it's all done, but when we get to that point, it's going to be something that is going to create new memories for a lot of people that are from Chicago, in Chicago, or visiting Chicago.
Yes, absolutely, man.
Well, congratulations on that. I mean, I can't think of anybody else better suited to be the host of that moment for that part of the city. So congratulations and kudos to you for, having that honor.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, Curtis. Thank you, man. And shout out to the Bulls and also the United Center, man, and them reaching out to me and saying that we feel that you're the right person for this. So I can say so many great things about this Bulls organization, not just because I work for the organization when it comes to network. At the same time, we talk about authenticity and being real, and being genuine. That's been my experience 100% with everyone that I've come into contact with that Bulls organization, especially on the media side of things. So for them to reach out to me and say, hey, Cam, we feel that you're the right person for this. We know that you'll do a great job. And basically them trusting me to represent so many different lanes and so many different organizations and companies and just everyone attached to the 1901 project.
Yeah.
It meant everything. It was super powerful for me.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Mike, did you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, I did just kind of want to ask you something in relation to Cam. You mentioned kind of the authenticity, not to speak negatively or anything, but just because you have been a part of the transition of sort of the previous regime of the Bulls to now.
Oh, Lord, not
whenever you have a coaching change or a front office change, I think fans are always sort of in a good headspace just because there's always that great feeling of before things happen, sort of the ramping up period. But just for you, from a media standpoint, do things feel different this time around with Bryson Graham and Stephen Mervis and AC Law and sort of the front office staff that they have, or do things feel similar just in terms of new front office, good vibes? I'm just curious in your early impressions, how do things kind of feel boots on the ground?
Mike, it is refreshing.
Man, that's good to hear. Oh, that's good
to hear. We needed that.
And we talked about Bryson Graham and just that introductory press conference that he had, and how you can feel his passion. You can feel what he wanted for this organization. You can feel that
he's one of us.
He's definitely one of us, and he's really ingratiated himself into just Chicago culture. And so when you have someone like that ground floor, along with Tiago Splitter, along with Caleb Wilson, a lot of these young guys that they have on the roster, where they're going, especially when it comes to Michael Reinsdorf and what he has planned for this organization, and how he's entrusting Bryson, who is, I believe, Bryson's 39, she's going to be 40 next year. But you have someone that truly believes in this change and this turnaround. And so it's completely different from the last regime. Not going to throw any shade on those guys, but we saw the results.
Yeah, it's just different.
And there's more alignment that you can see early on. I mean, I don't have to tell you guys this. You see it with your own eyes, right? It's more alignment with how things are going. When you think of Bryson being hired and when they were going through their coaching candidates and that process. And even though for me, I wanted Sean Sweeney from San Antonio, but when Sean Sweeney, when the news came out that he was going to be the new head coach with the Orlando Magic, you didn't see Bryson Graham and his team panic. You didn't see him speed the process up because our guy's going to be taken away. They continued on with their process. They made sure that they got the right guy that fit what their direction is. And when you think of Tiago Splitter and just his pedigree as a basketball player, but then also as a coach, you're like, this dude definitely gets it, and he's going to be part of that turnaround for this organization. So, again, I should have made a disclaimer before I even started this whole conversation. Like, everything that I'm saying is not just because I work for the organization.
We know.
And we had this whole conversation about authenticity and realness. And
man. We got
100%.
It's my honest opinion and my honest 100%. Thoughts. Like, I have a group text with my brother and my cousins that I grew up with. And if they want to pull the receipts, or people that I talk to at the gym that I go to, or just text messages, it's across the board. It's across the board the same thing of how I believe in this front office. I believe in the direction that they're going, and we're seeing small examples of that. And not really small examples, they're bigger examples, like with Tiago and Bryson and drafting Caleb and drafting Swain. I know Dalen's struggling a little bit out in Vegas, but I believe in what he can be and what he will be for this organization, what they've been able to do free agency-wise and bringing in Nick Claxton and Norman Powell. Like, they understand what's ahead. They understand, too, that it's not going to be a quick turnaround. And they didn't gas anybody saying, we're going to the playoffs next year. They're like, no, Bryson said it's going to be a layering of time. It's going to be a challenge. So just stay 10 toes down with us. He didn't say this. This is more so my words. Stay 10 toes down with us, and we're going to make this thing work. And when it clicks, then we'll get back to those feelings that we had previously of being in the playoffs and being in the talk of the NBA. And so I honestly believe that they will get back to that. So, again, to answer your question, Mike, newness is not just the newness of it. Also, you see the authenticity, you see the alignment, everyone across the board. And with those moves that we've seen this offseason, they're headed in the right direction. And it's refreshing to see for sure.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I thought about Bryson when you were talking about the 1901 project, man. And you said, like, it's going to take some time. You said it's going to, like, we're probably about 10 years away. But when we get there, it's just going to change lives. And that's something that's going to have a lasting effect. And I thought about Bryson because that's the same energy that he had talking about this team. He said, like, I want to let y'all, and that's what I really appreciated, man. Everything you're saying tonight is just like spot on because it's the authenticity of him not over promising. My girl, we watched, she said he's doing a really good job of under promising and potentially over delivering. And that's the route you want to go. Yep. Like, I love to hear that. Whereas I feel like before it was, and again, like you said, not to throw shade, but it just always seemed like we were hearing like fan service or lip service or being afraid to just keep it 100, and like Bryson, like, hey man, I just want y'all to know it's going to take some time, and you'd rather hear that. Like, I think the fans needed to hear that. And then he kept reiterating that because now let's say that we're better than we expected, like it's a good surprise to have. It's a luxury. So I just love that he's being super real. And even, speaking to one of us, him being one of us, I loved when he said he almost wore his Concord 11s to the introductory press conference. I said, okay, we got us one. That got me so excited, man. Yeah. I mean, you could even see like how excited Michael Reinsdorf was. Yeah. You know, there were memes going around on Bulls Twitter like, get you somebody that look at you like Michael look at Bryson Graham, because he was just cheesing the whole interview. And I felt so happy for him because he deserves that. You know, like them dudes have been under fire. And I love the authenticity from Michael when he, like, before we even brought Bryson Graham on, when Michael had his like his media availability, and he talked about how we were going to hire the search firm. People were kind of panicking, but I was just so excited because like that was him coming out and saying like, listen, I'm sorry to y'all that things haven't been the way that, you know, like we expected them to be in the fan base, expected it to be. You know, I'm trying out here. And he said, I know we made our mistakes, but that's why we're going to do things different, man. And like that had gave me faith. And then just seeing his behavior when we did bring Bryson on, that boy was cheesing the whole press conference because he knew everybody kind of has that feeling like we got us one. Yeah. And it's the same kind of feeling I get with the players, like with Caleb. You just get that feeling like, oh, yeah, we got us one. You know, like watching these couple games with Summer League, man, and seeing Caleb with D Rose at the facility, you could just kind of, you know, when it's real, you know, man. I feel like we just got us one. Like, and that's just the vibes, period, throughout the whole building. Like you said, the alignment throughout the building just seems to be there. So it's really validating to hear that.
Really amplified it to another level too when it comes to. Oh, my bad. I had a little connection issue. That's my bad.
Oh, we hear you.
You're back.
You're good.
No, I was going to say that to amplify that even more when it comes to Bryson not selling us a dream. Like, come on, man. Like at the end of the day, you can't fool anybody from Chicago, especially when it comes to sports. Come on. Like, it's just like we done seen greatness. We've seen greatness at the highest level. So you can't fool that, right? And so, right, exactly. And so, but again, Bryson is a former hooper. Like he hooped at Texas A&M, so he understands that when it comes to really trying to build something, and when it comes to really sacrificing and getting the right things in to make it work, then that's what you got to do. And that's what he told everyone. He just like, I'm not going to sell you a dream. I'm not going to tell you we're making the playoffs next year. I'm not going to tell you they're going to be in the NBA Finals in a few seasons. It was great to see the Spurs did it, you know, when they were one of the bottom teams in the Western Conference. That was a great turnaround for them. But they also got Victor Wembanyama on their team. So that helps the process speed up a lot faster than others. But you have a dude, as you got the clip of us sitting down with Bryson on the By the Horns podcast with myself and KC. And I love what we were able to discuss with Bryson, because it was more so of just him as a person, as a man, how he thinks, how his mind was shaped, whether it comes to playing basketball, also off the court as well. So it gave, again, Bulls fans a deeper connection than they previously didn't have with him, because that was a question like, okay, who was Bryson Graham? Like, who is this dude? We know the background a little bit, but we don't really know him. And so shout out to Bryson and the Bulls for making this an opportunity for us, a reality, with sitting down and getting to know him even more. You talk about him saying that he Concord 11s. He said that the 11s are his favorite Jordans of all time. So, and I had to make sure, because I'm a sneakerhead myself. So I had to make sure, I got the band Jordan logo.
We had to see him on the feet right there.
A little touch, little details, little something. But you have someone, again, he understands what the work entails, and he's no stranger to it. If you look at his journey from when he first started in the NBA with front offices to where he is now, this dude is a worker. I even had a conversation with him a couple of weeks after this interview. We were doing a Bulls charity event, community event, and I was just, saying like, all right, have you found a house yet? Have you moved the family up? And he's just like, man, I've been in the office grinding. I respect it, because again, he understands what the responsibility is for this role. It is not easy, and God bless him, because I wouldn't take this role, especially in the city of Chicago and the pressure that comes with it. But he invites it though, and he knows that when this thing turns around, then everyone will see what that plan was, what that vision was. And now we're living in that reality. Now, I pray that it doesn't take almost 10 years like the 1901 project is going to take to be fully completed, please. But I really can see this thing, and I've told people this, I can see this thing turning around in the next few seasons. And that's just being real about this thing. For people that are like, a few seasons, that's too far from now. You have to understand where the Bulls are. And if you understand where the Bulls are and where they're trying to go, especially Bryson said this in the introductory press conference, is that where they are, they have a lot of room to grow, and he's part of that. So it's going to be special when he does turn it around, for sure.
I do have a question on that note, Cam. You sort of mentioned they could turn it around quicker than people expect, obviously, if things go right. Based off of sort of what they're working with now, it's tough to ask, but over the next 2 seasons, if the Bulls were to become above average in terms of like offensive or defensive rating, like on either side of the ball, which one do you see being a more realistic avenue to you based off of what they have right now, sort of becoming above average on offense or on defense? I'm just curious what you would think on that.
Yeah, I would say defense, Mike. That would be where I would lean towards, because when you have Thiago, who, when you look at what he was able to do in Portland, and man, to be thrown into the fire like that, and that whole situation with Chauncey Billups and his legal issues and all that, and now it's like, bam, Thiago, you're the dude. We got talent on this team. Do something with
Figure it out.
Figure it out, right? But I don't think that they were like figured out to the point where they're making the playoffs and they're competing in the playoffs. But that's just who Thiago is, man. It says something about his ability to coach, but also it says something about his ability to relate to his players. Because I'll tell you this, playing at Southern Illinois and two of the best coaches that I've had in my life, Matt Painter, who's the head coach over at Purdue, now and Chris Lowry, who's an assistant at Northwestern. Those are my two head coaches at Southern. My freshman year was Matt Painter. He left and went and became the associate head coach under Gene Katie at Purdue, his alma mater. Then Coach Lowry, Chris Lowry, took over for my final 3 years. But I bring those guys up to make this point. They had us working our ass off in the offseason. We were grinding in the offseason, in practice, doing everything that they needed us to do on the basketball court. But you don't get that buy-in if you don't relate to that coach, if that coach doesn't relate to you. And so that is a big superpower for Thiago Splitter. And you saw it last year with the Portland Trailblazers. Even if you want to wind it back even more, if you look at his time with the Houston Rockets and how he was able to really turn Alperen Şengün into the player that he is now, those dudes respect him to a high level. Now, of course, they know his background, San Antonio Spurs, NBA champion, longtime NBA player. But it says another thing for these guys to really connect with them and believe and buy into his vision for them. And so I see the same thing defensively with this Bulls team. So that's where I think that turnaround can happen, on that side of the court, as opposed to the offensive side, because the shooting is still lacking, right? Even though they picked up Norman Powell, which was a great pickup, in my opinion, especially with the deal that they got him with the 2-year, $45 million deal, and the second year being a team option. That's part of Bryson. That's part of Steven Mervis, right? That's part of that new regime that, again, brings alignment, but also should give Bulls fans more hope of like, all right, we got the right people in place. And then you see it through these deals. But with Thiago and how he coaches and what he believes in and his non-negotiables of competing and making sure that this team is physical on the defensive end. And you see some of these guys that they're bringing in. You bring in Caleb Wilson last night. Offensively, didn't look good until the fourth quarter, but it was more so on the defensive end, what you saw from Caleb and him holding down, and what a lot of people say in the NBA and basketball now is guard your yard. And he's able to do that. So you have that. You saw the strides that Modest was able to make last year on the defensive end. Josh was able to make a little strides here and there as well. You bring in a guy like Nick Claxton that can rim protect and can get out and run. So these are certain pieces that they're bringing whole to this team that can help that transformation and raise that defensive efficiency profile on that end of the court. So, again, to answer Mike, definitely on the defensive end, that's why I see the change happening quicker than the offensive end in the next 2 to 3 years.
I would definitely agree there. And I mean, when you see Bryson's vision, I mean, even Leonard Miller, a guy who I'm not sure if he's necessarily going to factor into the rotation, but last year it definitely felt like the Bulls were a smaller team, and definitely seems like moving forward, you got a plethora of guys who are 6'7", 6'10" wings, even down to Swain sort of being a 6'6" guy that they seem like they want to be in the backcourt. So definitely they have a higher ceiling defensively, and I'm excited to see some preseason action because Summer League, the guard play can get a little rough down the stretch.
I mean, we watched last night, right? We all watched that summer game last night, and how rough it got. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, let's press the fast forward button and get to training camp and get to preseason play a little bit. So things can get cleaned up a little bit.
I agree. And speaking of that, I know that Michael Scotto just put out that we brought on some new assistant coaches today. So I am looking forward to seeing how we continue to fill out the whole environment, again, piggybacking back to you and just, watching even how you and Bryson were kind of dressed alike in this interview. it's just super cool. I think we're entering such a really cool and dope era of being Bulls fans. Yeah. It just feels like I don't know, man. You get that same feeling I got like during the D Rose era. It was just special, and like something about this era right now, it feels like so heavily integrated into really bringing to the forefront what that Chicago energy, and it's not a coincidence that you're a part of that. You know what I mean? Like I'm not even like trying to gas you up or anything, man. But like I remember when you first came. No, for real. When he first came on the show, it's just you could tell like when somebody is from the city, and you know what I mean when I say that because I went to school in the burbs. I lived in the burbs, so whenever I would like get to come across somebody else, my best friend, he was from K-Town, and he put me on like so much game over at I went to school in Villa Park, but like we connected because like off the rip, you were like, you from Chicago, ain't you? So you get that, you kind of just feel that. And when they brought you on, I was like, oh man, we got us one in the building that's like really gonna, like that I can relate to when I like watch him interview players, man. And like when you bring in the news to us, I'm not trying to throw shade, man, but we don't got no square representing us. Like we really got us one in the building, and like it really showed. And I think that's what kind of helped Bryson feel super comfortable, was like having your energy there, like somebody he could relate to. I know y'all even talked about like how you said like y'all close to the same age, you dressed alike, like you both got the shoe game going, and it just kind of feels like that's what the whole energy is from top down. It's this brand new like Chicago energy coming back to the Bulls fan base, man, and just like again, like you're a huge part of that. So I'm just excited to see what the future holds, man. Like truly,
I am as well. I am as well, good to see. And I appreciate that love too, man, for real. And
no doubt, man.
I've always tried to hold true, and this is even before the whole authenticity conversation and point that we brought up with Bryson, but also be authentic and true to myself and who I am. So I always tell people this in terms of those that reach out to me that are in college or just starting out in the business. I always tell them this: be the same person on camera as you are off camera. Like don't be performative at all, man, because again, people can read through that stuff right away, right? You want to be true to who you are. You want to be authentic and be as real as you are. Now, of course, I can't have the same conversations that I would have with my brother as we're talking on the phone, sitting down, like chilling. And
I'm trying to learn how to do that
on camera because I wouldn't be the host of Bulls Countdown Live. So, but also you frame it in a way that not only is professional but still resonates and people can understand. And I always want people to understand this too when it comes to, if you see me on television, you see me sitting down with someone like I'm sitting down with Bryson now, you see me with my man Kendall Gill on Bulls Countdown Live. I want people to feel like I'm sitting on their couch at their crib and we're just talking about basketball. And I'm letting them know about that game. I'm letting them know about the matchup. I'm trying to give them more information about Bryson. I want people to feel like they're in that room with us.
Yes,
that's how you build even stronger bonds and more connectivity, man. So again, with Bryson, with his organization, the Bulls are becoming a vibe again. And let's just
swear to God, Cam.
Yes, sir.
Like you can feel that. You can feel
yes, sir.
I mean, that logo is iconic. It's worldwide, and we know why it's iconic and worldwide because of Michael Jordan. But when you have people wanting to see this franchise, wanting to see this city, which we know is a basketball city, thrive and get back into the conversation and back on the map, then you're like, all right, bet. We got something. Let's get everything in place across the board from everything that we're doing organizationally so we can get this team back to where it needs to be. And so that's the energy that we're feeling this offseason. Is like, man, people are really talking about the Bulls even more now. Like, yeah, they're really rooting for us because people are like, man, I like Caleb Wilson. He's going to be great. He's going to be nice. This is a great pickup for this Bulls team. Or I like the hiring of Bryson Graham. You hear his name across, so many NBA circles, and people across the board on that front were saying it was a great pickup by the Bulls. This is a dude that's going to get them in the right direction. When you hire Tiago Splitter, everyone is saying it's a great pickup for this team. They're doing things right. So it's the building blocks, right? Brick by brick. They're building,
brick by brick,
seeing what they're doing. And it's a vibe, man. So when you are in on the ground floor and when this thing really pops off, you'll look back and say, I remember those days. I remember seeing Bryson on By the Horns. I remember his introductory press conference. I remember seeing Caleb.
Real talk.
I remember these dudes, and we could tell even then that we had something. And now we really have something where we're in the playoffs and we're hopefully competing for a championship.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. Kurtz?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, there's no better guys so far than Caleb Wilson to be taking up that role. He seems to want it more than anybody. Seems to want the pressure. We were talking about that with Bryson Graham, right? Bryson Graham wants the pressure of being the leader of this new Chicago era, and Caleb Wilson feels the same way. And I know you were an early Caleb guy, Cam. You were right there with me when I was, tooting the Caleb horn early. And so I hope he's been everything on and off the court that you have wanted him to be. And can you speak on that really quickly before we wrap up here?
He's a different dude, man. And I say that with the utmost respect. Like, he is a 19-year-old, sorry to say it, but he's still a kid, 19-year-old kid that carries himself like a 35-year-old.
Yes.
Right? He understands what his goal is. And anything being short of great, okay. If it happens that way, then so be it. But he wants to be great. Right? Yes. And it's not only him talking about it. Because, again, we're from Chicago. Like, we've done seen greatness. Yeah. We've seen it in multiple sports, right, from our city. We've seen that greatness win the ultimate trophy. And when we see that and we hear you saying you want to be that, but there's no actions behind it,
you're
questioning who you are. Like, okay, you're being performative. But that's not the case with Caleb Wilson. This dude wants to be great. You see it in his play. You see it in his work ethic. He was telling Casey and I that he and Dalen leave the gym late nights, because when you have your head coach saying that, we're going to lean on these dudes to be leaders for our team, you don't hear that. If you're not, and Caleb's the number 4 overall pick, but for the most part, a lot of these guys that are lottery picks, they're going into a situation where they have no choice but to be that. You don't necessarily have to say that about Caleb Wilson and Dalen Swain, because you have a Josh Giddey, you have a Modest is going into year 3, you have Nick Claxton, you have Norman Powell, you have veterans on your team, but when you look at these two dudes and you have your head coach and also Bryson saying that we want them to be leaders, they're throwing them into the fire right away. And we talked about this. I talked about this when it came to playing basketball in Chicago.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad I was thrown into the fire.
Yes.
It's going to make you better, right? You don't want to you want to have your hand held through this process. No, that's the best way to learn. And that can go across a number of different areas of just life in general outside of sports. You want to be thrown into the fire because that's going to ultimately make you better, right? It's going to have you grow, and you don't want to be comfortable. And these guys won't be comfortable, which is good. And it's going to be
exactly
all part of life. And so they're going to have that. So looking at Caleb, who he is, what his mentality is, and how he produces, like you said, Kurtz, early on, I saw an interview with him, and this was, I believe, after like the first or second exhibition game, a preseason game for the college basketball season. So there was an interview with him and a reporter, and they were asking, like, well, we didn't see some of these things during the McDonald's All-American game. What happened? And he looked at the reporter and said, they didn't give me the ball. And so I made a list of people that I'm targeting this year. And we don't worry about, like, with the screensaver or whoever that matchup is for that week.
He does.
Puts that picture up, and like that's his services, his motivation. But when he says that and he actually goes out and performs better than the person that was ranked higher or getting more love than him in the media, you're like, oh yeah, this dude,
he built like that.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why I made the comparison with him when it comes to just mentality wise, but also with his footwork. I made the comparison to Kevin Garnett, but his mentality is so KG where you're like, this dude is a little off in the most respectful way.
Best way.
Right? Because if you think about all the greats, no matter if it's basketball, NFL, baseball, whatever, if you're gonna be great, you're gonna have something off about you. I don't know what like something triggered you as a kid. Like, I think that Michael Jordan's older brother, Larry Jordan, used to torment him when he was a kid because Mike does not want to lose at anything. So it had to be hell for him in a Jordan household and growing up and trying to compete with his brothers and his cousins and all of that. But you have to have something. Same thing with Kobe. It's something different about these dudes. And I'm not saying that Caleb Wilson is going to be Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, but he has a sprinkle of that. You can see it in his DNA where if he continues on and he continues to progress and develop, he's going to bring something special to this city. So I'm glad that he's playing tonight. I was worried that he might not play tonight because AJ DeBonza is out for Washington. It's also interesting.
You got that rose flu going.
We didn't see Darren Peterson last night.
And his homie got dunked on.
We're not going to see AJ DeBonza tonight.
Hey, they got that Rose flu, Cam.
Did they watch last Friday and see Caleb put up 35 on Cam Boozer? I'm just saying. Maybe I'm just speculating. This is nothing that I heard, but this is my own mind. That maybe word got to those players and say, you know
what?
On their ass. You don't got nothing to prove tonight. Go ahead and sit this one out. You don't have That's just how my mind works as a that's my basketball mind.
Man, right?
Hey, we're all thinking the same thing. We're all thinking
Cam,
the same thing.
Caleb said at the press conference when I think it was, and that's what I was telling these guys in our Discord, man. I'm like, oh yeah, we got us one, because you could tell Caleb, one of them dudes, like, that fuels him. So people were saying like, oh, they got mad at Sam Smith for asking that question. Like, you know what they were saying, man. The streets were saying that, you got picked for it because it's only a top 3. And everybody was like, why would you ask that? I'm like, no. I think Sam Smith, Caleb and Sam Smith are going to be like this, because that's exactly the kind of Caleb already motivates himself. So when you got Sam Smith being like, hey, what's good, Caleb? I saw you last night. You couldn't hit no free throws. I feel like those two are going to form a bond, because Caleb holds himself accountable and then some. And a dude like Sam Smith is on the same type of timing that Caleb is, like, always looking to do better. And when he asked him about that big 3, Caleb said, hey, I'm going to see them boys. Anytime I played them, y'all know what happened, but I'm going to see them boys, and I can't wait to see them. I'm saying, oh, yeah.
Guilty. I was in the studio, because we had that press conference live. When he said that, I screamed so loud. I banging my hand on the desk. I'm like, yo, this dude really
he with the S.
I love it. I love that he did that, because you see how he thinks, you see how he wants it, you see that he has targets. And that is Chicago, because Chicago is like, oh, y'all talk about New York, you talk about LA and all these different places. But when it comes to Chicago, we know that we're the best. We're the best city.
And we back up that talk. We back up that talk. The other cities don't do that. So
when you heard Caleb say that, you're like you talk about guilty. We got one. Like, nah, he's one of us.
Yeah, on God he is.
Because it's that overlooked mentality. But when we get out onto that stage, when we get out into that platform, you're gonna see who's the best. And so that's Caleb. That's definitely
absolutely
Caleb.
I
love it.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, Kurt, Cam, you want to close us out, man?
Yeah, I was going to say, Cam, we're a little over time. We apologize for that, but we're coming up on the start of the Summer League game that I'm sure everyone wants to get to.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for your time. You're obviously one of our favorite people in the whole entire Bulls space, Bulls community, and it was a pleasure to kind of get to know the man behind the interview, if that makes sense. So thank you so much for hopping on and taking time out of your day to talk with us.
Look, man, Guilty, Kurtz, Mike, I really appreciate you guys, man. Thank you for opening up the doors to me and having a great time. Kurtz, I told you guys before we started, I'm here for the full 60, man. So
we got you for 73, full 73.
I wasn't gonna pull a fake phone call like, oh, somebody's calling me. I gotta jump off. Not doing that at all, man. But I enjoyed every single moment, man. I appreciate you guys for sure. And
absolutely, man.
Continue doing it. For sure. I want to support you any way that I can. If you're at the United Center, pull up. For you guys, man, for sure. So,
thank you so much, Cam.
Thank you, Cam. Absolutely. You're the man.
Yes, sir.
Mike, did you want to say anything before we close out, Mike?
Oh, no, man, just the same as everyone else. Appreciate Cam for hopping on. And, man, I've been watching him cover IHSA hoops for a long time, and I'm looking forward to hopefully watching him cover Chicago Bulls hoops for a long time, man. And definitely going to bump into him at the UC at some point coming up this season for sure.
Yes, sir. Let's make it happen, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you will be seeing them for a long time, man. Like I said, I've been trying to, Cam, these guys will tell you, man, like I wear my heart on my sleeve, and like I've been having to bite my damn tongue this whole episode, like, and I'm learning from you in real time, like, because I've been getting a little too comfortable on this show. Kurt will tell you, man, they've been seeing more and more of it come out, so I've been this whole time just holding myself, and also not trying to give you too many compliments, man, because I don't want to, you to feel like, man, these dudes they full of it, but like I can't stress enough, man, like how much I truly do appreciate you, bro. Like I do look up to you, man, and like this was just really cool to have you on here and like learn from you in real time, like how you carry yourself, and you talk about like just putting on for the city. Like I said, man, it's just like you're leading by example, and just watching you say like everything that you do, like even when you won't here with us, you carry yourself in the best way because you represent not only the Bulls and the organization of your job, but the city. And like, man, like I needed to hear that tonight from myself, just how I carry myself. So just Thank you so much, man. And just I think that we got us on with Bryson Graham. We got us on with Caleb. I think we got us one with you, man, because, not to get emotional with y'all, but like Stacey Keene meant a lot. Like one of my dreams was to like meet him one day. And I know like we talk about the energy of the team and like, man, it would have been so crazy having him with us. But like all hope is not lost for me, because no BS. Like that's how I believe in you too. Like as far as just what you do for us for the community and his fans, like I feel like safe and excited to watch a team while you cover it. So like truly, I think that we do got us one with you too, man. And I think that we're gonna look back on this episode like, man, can you believe we had Cam on, man? So like,
and not to interject, but the programs like Cam are doing, I worked with a program called True Star Magazine when I was younger. They're still kicking True Star.
Yeah.
Without programs like that, man, like last year was my first time being credentialed on the beat, where you actually obviously have some access there. And, it really means a lot when kids can flip on the TV and see Cam up there doing his thing, because you don't think it's possible until you see that it's possible. So really do appreciate Cam for what he does, man.
No doubt, man. And that's why we're with a badge of honor. And you bring up True Star, man. I used to do work with True Star and the after school banners with the journalism program. I used to run there. So like and did that for a number of years. But I really appreciate that, Guilty and Mike and Kurtz, for all the love, man. It's really felt. And I don't take it for granted, for real. That love and that support, not only from you guys, but from Bulls fans, from people from Chicago, the area that are watching and just support me and support the organization, is not lost on me. I'm super grateful and I'm humbled to have that support and that love, man. Because again, I represent y'all, right? Because I'm a part of y'all as well, and we are all one with this, for real. And I don't say that lightly. And so hopefully that shows in every time I'm on there. So
it does, man.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you, man. Well, God bless you, Cam, and hopefully this won't be the last time. Like I said, our girl Izzy, I think she's chopping it up with KC, so I'm hoping maybe we can do another episode, like maybe with you and KC, have her come on, and in the future, and we'll have a lot of fun to talk about this season. That's for sure. But just thank you so much for your time today, man. Hey, let's get the W tonight. I think we need one.
Yeah, man. Let's get some more Caleb Wilson highlights. Let's get some Dalen Swain highlights, man. Come on,
come on,
D Swain. We need you to start D Swain.
You might have spoken into existence, man. We finna see.
All right.
Absolutely. Hey, but God bless you. Thank you so much to the chat for coming through. And we'll see y'all next time. Thank you, guys.